Welcome back, everybody, to Grand Tactician, the Civil War. And I was just taking a look at my leadership in some of my armies, and some of my generals are not the best. Jubal Early was leading a brigade in one of the Eastern armies, and I was looking at his stats, which are just phenomenal. And so I've actually promoted him to command the Western Army because, let's be honest, John Hunt Morgan was just not getting the job done. His numbers just were pretty poor. The stats were not great. So I've been kind of hunting for other such officers that I might be able to give a significant role to. Johnston's numbers are phenomenal, but he's already in command of the army of the Shenandoah. There's not a lot down there. Samuel Cooper's got some pretty good numbers. I may go ahead and promote him up to command this division. Let me give him a promotion to Brigadier General. And see, when you give them promotions, you see the numbers, they go down. So at that point now, it doesn't look like, well, I mean, his cunning's not as good, but his administration's better. But it's not really a significant upgrade over Loring. So I think I'll hold off there. Stonewall Jackson's already commanding a division. Philip St. George Cock is a brigadier general already, and that would be an upgrade over some of our division commanders. Especially in some of the other armies, but I think I'll wait for now. Longstreet's got really good numbers. He actually is looking as good as Lee at the moment. There's Julius Caesar Napoleon. That's one of the guys I made up. He's right there. Where am I? I thought I was in the Army of Northern Virginia. Nope, I'm in the Army of Tennessee, and my stats are not very good. So we got to work on that a little bit. Kind of disappointed by that at the moment, but you can see the brigade commander's not necessarily the best in the Army of Tennessee. Certainly the division commanders are not the best at the moment. Maxie Gregg's not bad. He might be a better choice for brigade command right now. So, but let's see, when I promote him, of course, you see how that changes. Yeah, he still might be the better choice for a division command, though. So let's do this. Let's find somebody to replace him in charge of that brigade. James Deering. Problem is, when I promote him up to, let's say, Lieutenant Colonel, that's good enough for now. For that, then we're going to replace me with Maxie Gregg because he is a better division commander. We've got to upgrade some of these weapons too. We do have some decent weapons available. I got a shipment of Mississippi rifles. Looks like I've got some Lawrence rifles available too. I'm still waiting on cavalry weapons. Got a bunch of Lawrences apparently. Let's take a look for a second and see what we've got of some of these different weapons at this point. We've got 136,000 mixed muskets. Not great. We still got 16,000 Augustins. 18,000 Lawrences. We used all our Mississippis. I just upgraded those before I started recording. Don't have Hall rifles available. Those are 8 rounds a minute, though, but production ceased. It's obsolete. I could definitely use some more of these, but we're still waiting on them. Oh, we could... No, we can't order any of those. Okay. All right, I'm sending the entire Trans-Mississippi Theater basically to get replenished because almost all of those units were down to well under 1,000 men. So I'm also sending 3 newly recruited brigades there. That'll give them 9,000 new men, but they're going to take a while. So basically the Trans-Mississippi Theater, for the time being, is non-existent as a unit. I'm also looking over all of my brigades to see where they're at in terms of manpower. Anybody who's under 1,000, I'm going to send them to get replenished because they're just really not doing me a lot of good being that small, because then they're on the verge of, basically on the verge of annihilation. And it's not like it used to be where I can take existing units like a fresh 3,000 man brigade and just use it to replenish the other brigades like you used to. Can't do that anymore. You can only combine 2 brigades if their combined strength would be under the max of 3,000 men. So it doesn't really give you that option anymore, which is fine. I got no problem with that. I understand why they're doing it that way. Every single one of my infantry brigades that's now in the field has rifles for the first time. I've been really putting a premium on making sure that I have good weapons for my units. So, and it looks like we're going to get right into the action. We're going to be pretty heavily outnumbered here. Army of Northeastern Virginia plus an unknown second army coming in against Johnston and his Army of the Shenandoah. Looks like it's John Pope. All right. So bring it on, John Pope. That guy thought very highly of himself, much more highly than he ought to. Okay, so the bad news is we have to attack. The good news is the enemy army is green, and the morale, is reported to be broken. Their supply situation's good. But if we can hit him quickly, especially as he has, I think, about 3 hours until his next army arrives. It's going to take me that long just to get at him. But that may give us an opportunity there if we're able to push him back pretty quickly. It's the Winchester battlefield. Not one we fought on too much, but he's probably going to be dug in somewhere around here. There's no way to really get at him from the other side without having to cross a bunch of streams and things like that, so we're probably going to have to go the main route of attack right through the town. Well, we missed our opportunity to hit him quickly. We ran out of daylight before we even got across the creek here, so I'm just now moving into position on the morning of March 12th. Looks like there is some pretty strong fortifications here, but he's actually further back now. So he may have originally been dug in here, but then he pulled back maybe when the other army arrived. So I'm moving my army into position right along here. But I think we're going to come up and get right along this Berryville pike and then sit tight, although now he seems to be moving. So this is going to be a tough one. He is dug in right along this stream here. He's got a few units across, but for the most part, he's dug in a pretty strong defensive line along that stream. And he's got his skirmishers right there at where the objective is. So I'm trying to figure out my best way to do this. I may hold here and try to shift around and maybe hit his flank right here that's a little more exposed and kind of out in the air and not dug in behind that creek. So I'm going to shift Loring up a little further this way. We'll bring Hardy up the same way. And then we'll hold Jackson's division here just to kind of keep him focused on me a little bit. I do want to get my guns going. Looks like my 10-pounder Parrots have begun their fire. I'd like to do some counter battery fire if I can. Try to neutralize some of his guns with those Parrots. Okay, there's the second army. He was sitting back here. I knew he had more men, but I didn't know where they were. We're going to have to shift Loring up here to try and deal with them, but he's one division. There's no way he's going to be able to handle that all by himself. I'm going to send Stewart up there to help out. That certainly complicates things a lot. So I'm going to start my attack because Loring's only going to be able to hold for so long. My estimate is that he outnumbers me 2-1. I don't think that's exactly right, but it's probably in the neighborhood of correct. Alright, let's shift these guys to fire at will. Come on, Loring. You got to shift, dude. You got to do it now. There we go. He's not going to get there in time. Okay. Now he's going to be facing a bit of a nightmare here because he's going to be crossing into position right as this guy gets up there. Man, this is going to be a mess. And I don't mean that in a positive way for myself. So some major skirmishing going on. So far the casualty numbers are pretty good in my favor. But I have to press this attack, and I have to press it now because, like I said, not going to hold for very long on my left. Lawton only had 1,000 men to begin with. If I can hurry up and break Blanker, I can turn some of these guys. Now this puts Jackson forward. Alright, so far so good. I'm not a huge fan of how this is going to work out, though. Come on, drive Blanker off. Got these skirmishers that are slowing me down over here. Alright, Cooper's getting into position, so that's going to help over here. Alright, let's recall our skirmishers, because they're kind of getting in the way at the moment. Okay, there we go. We broke Blanker. Next thing I want to do is mount the cav back up. Take out these guns. And then we got to shift Lawton. I'm going to hold Bragg where he is in a reserve position for a minute. This is Early's brigade, which was really well led, but now has William Henry Fitzhugh Lee in command since we promoted Early to an army command out west. Jackson's getting his division into position. They're going to have their work cut out for him here. Oh, what's Cooper doing? No, 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 Cooper, you're not going over there. You're staying here. This is actually working out okay at the moment. Early's brigade has a tough job ahead of them. They've only got 1,200 men here. Thankfully, they've got support from the New York Copperheads. Got 1st Louisiana Tigers under Harry Hayes coming up. Jackson's right on the verge of being able to take the objective. No. I don't know. Why are they... It won't let me shift the way I want to here. There we go. Do it that way. No. Oh, boy. Just stop. Just stay right where you are. Alright, so far so good. He's not swinging this side around to hit me in my flank. And I was able to surprise this army. He was trying to march this army down, and I think I caught him by surprise, and he got all bungled up there. So it seems to be working out pretty well so far. Oh, the casualties are fantastic. Doesn't hurt that I've got some pretty good weapons right now. beautiful. This is working out nicely. Early's brigade's about to get its perk. First perk. He's starting to reorganize a little bit here, so let's get this figured out. I'm going to bring Bragg over here. No, over here. And then we'll bring him up on this side. Alright, we broke him. Oh, he's trying to get around my flank now. Stewart's supposed to be moving up, but he hasn't so far. Waiting for him to get those orders. Johnston's too far to the right. Alright, Hayes, let's move you forward. Let's move Lee up. Let's try to push this. There goes Stewart, finally. Let's get him dismounted. Alright, Ringgold Brigade's probably not going to last too much longer. I'm actually going to move Bragg there instead. I think we'll actually shift Lee over here to help out with that. Because we've got Porterfield over here as a reserve. 36 West Virginia. Yeah, I don't think the Ringgold Brigade's going to last too much longer. A lot of these units are pretty low. I see you, Lawton. Man, he's down to just 753 men. Alright, let's send Bragg up there. Ringgold Brigade's going to break in a second. We'll try to rally him. But I'm going to get up in a position where I can support them, pull them back. Lee's coming up over there. Porterfield's coming up on this side. I think this is working. Who was wounded? Jeb Stewart was wounded, commanding his cavalry. He's down to just 284 men. That's a unit that might just get wiped out if I'm not careful. They're going to break in a second. There they go. $4,400 enemy casualties to just 1,400 for me. That's incredible. And he's just sitting there. That's John Pope for you. Sitting there with this left flank of his that he could swing around and hit me if he wanted to, though I could probably turn and handle that. Alright, let's speed things up. I think we've got this. We're going to keep rolling up his flank. Oh, look at Bragg. He just kind of ran up in there. Alright, let's move up to the fence. And come right up to this fence and get some cover. Now he's finally going to advance with his center, something he probably should have done a while ago. He definitely should be moving with these guys, but he's not. I have the objective now. The fence, dude. The fence. Get in behind the fence. Ringgold Division, man. They've been battered. We've just about got this. Oh, beautiful. This has been a nice victory. This is a well-led army. This is probably among my command and control, probably my best-led army among my army and division commanders in terms of the skill of the generals, and it does seem to be making a difference. Especially if his is poorly led, as I suspect. Oh yeah, we've got these guys. Alright, call in your... we can't call in the skirmishers, they're already coming back. Yeah, I think we got this one. We're going to send Lee over this way. And Cooper. Theophilus Holmes gets into the action now. 1st South Carolina Volunteers. Anson County congregation right there. Got a detachment from the 2nd Virginia here. Yeah, I think we're good. He's starting to withdraw units now. Oh, no, that was Stewart's cavalry. That was one of my units. Yeah, he's pulling out. Oh, Theophilus Holmes just broke, but that's okay. We haven't had many units break. And actually, a lot of his are recovering over here. That's a bit of a problem. Was not expecting that. This thing may not be over yet. Although he's got 10,000 casualties and he is starting to withdraw now. Oh boy, McCausland, that Anson County congregation's lost almost half their number now. There he goes. I'm going to give them iron discipline because they're going to need it right now. Yeah, he's pulling back. All right, nice victory. It's a major victory at Winchester. Almost 3-to-1 casualties. So what we need to do now is take a look at the numbers. A major victory like this, I'm inclined to give out a couple battle honors. I think Anson County congregation is going to get a 2nd one. Suffered a lot of casualties, but over in the center right part of the battlefield, they appear to have been by far the unit that was doing the most. And of course, they paid for it too. They lost a lot of men there. You can see they almost lost. They lost 43%. Now, as for the other division that was heavily involved, that was the Ringgold Division. You can see there, the 3rd Ringgold Brigade lost 42%. Didn't inflict a ton of casualties. 2nd and 4th Ringgold Brigade did a little more in terms of that. 4th Ringgold Brigade in particular only lost 2% in the process. So I think they'll get the other one from this one. So we're going to give it to the Anson County congregation, our first 2-star unit in terms of battle honors, and then the 2nd Ringgold, or was it the 4th Ringgold? I don't remember. I'll go back and look. Looking at projects for a second, farm mechanization. Each level of this project further increases farm output and available volunteers. I like that. I'm trying as long as possible to avoid going to the draft. And as long as I can keep my numbers in a similar range to his, I'm not going to go with the draft. What are we working on right now? We're working on Diplomacy 4. We just started at the end of the last episode with that, so it's going to take a while for that to unfold. There we go. We drove the enemy out of Winchester. We're going to retake Winchester here in a minute, and then we're going to sit tight on that spot. We do have the Army of Northern Virginia in the midst of its invasion of Maryland that we started in the last episode. But we do have a number of armies coming our direction. I want to look and see where the Army of the Northwest is, because that's supposed to be going up. Yeah, they're in Knoxville. I was sending them back up there, but their readiness, as low as it is, until it gets up into the orange, I can't start building supply depots in a fort in Knoxville. And it looks like the Army of Tennessee is in a fight. I want to go ahead and hit assault so we can actually fight that. All right, Robert E. Lee's going to have his work cut out for him. We're facing 52,000 men with our 30,000, and we have to attack. Swiftwater is the objective. I feel like I don't want to go straight at them. They've got the woods. They've got a creek right there. I'm going to come in, take my time, come in up this way, and maybe try to cut him off and hit him from behind. It's late in the day, though, so I doubt anything happens on day one anyway. Oh, this isn't Robert E. Lee. I don't know why I was thinking this was the Army in Maryland. This is over in Tennessee. So we're going to come all the way over here as best we can. We'll probably be settling in for a day 2 attack. All right, so we are on to actually day 3 now of this battle, and I had some cav out here, and I had scouted that he was dug in right along here, but then my cav got moved when the day ended, and we had to kind of move into new positions. I'm going to move Greg's division up here first, the idea being that here in the middle of this thunderstorm and 63-degree weather, it's heavy rain, lightning, and winds. In these conditions, it would be better to stay in camp. The roads and fields turn into mud, slowing everything down. So yeah, my goal here is if I can move Greg first and he's still over here, I can maybe draw his attention this way and then launch the other 3 divisions in a massive attack to hit his flank. That's the plan. Now, I don't know where most of his army is. I'm showing 707 casualties, which is fascinating because not a shot has been fired in this battle. So those are just some losses we've suffered along the way, apparently. So keep that in mind when we start seeing casualties on the field. That I started out, he's got about 100, so I started out about 600 above him in terms of casualties. So we're going to send this cav out here. We're going to send that whole division forward, and once they get spotted and we start seeing the enemy move to counter that, then we launch our main attack column. We do have this swamp in the middle. That's going to make things a little difficult, especially in the weather conditions that we're already facing. He may have... No, he did not redeploy. Okay. So he is there. Let's send out skirmishers. I'm going to dismount the cav. And we're going to start drawing him in. All right, this cav here, we're going to send straight forward. I'm going to start bringing Johnson over right there. He does have an army up in there too, so the Confederate forces, I mean the Union forces are pretty much everywhere. This is exactly what I wanted to do here, was start to kind of draw him in a little bit. I got to move these 24-pounders up. Actually, I got to move all my guns up. And then we'll bring Gordon forward. Now we'll see what happens. Okay, he's scrambling because he just realized that I've got an attack force coming this way. So we've got this part of his army in a bit of disarray at the moment, which is exactly what I was after. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, no. I just accidentally, I meant to click on Gordon and I clicked on Johnson, and I just gave orders to the entire army. Screwed that up. Let's try to quickly countermand that. Oh, what a mess. What a mess. And they all started moving instantly, which is really frustrating because normally it takes time for those orders to go through. No, 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 Greg. Stay put, please. Alright, so he started out about 600 more casualties than me. I started out with 600 more than him. It seems like it's about the same. Still, the main thing is here we're catching him out in the open, which means he's not behind some well-placed fortifications. All right, send Gordon forward. We're going to keep Greg right where he is. Hopefully we can isolate and destroy some of his units. So we're into a situation now where we've got some engagement happening between skirmishers, but for the most part everybody's kind of pulling back here. So I'm going to try to bring Edward Johnson's division all the way out here. Although he's starting to pull back into a new defensive position, and I may lose the element of being able to hit just part of it, because if he's going to dig into a new line right here, that destroys the whole attack on his flank. I do have this cavalry unit that is somehow in behind him, and it's only a matter of time before he turns a couple of brigades around and smashes into them. Alright, we got to try and push this forward as best I can. I want to try and hit a couple of these brigades before they get away. Alright, DeRosie's getting some fire on these guys. Now they've turned a brigade against me. Kind of expected that would happen at some point. Alright, I'm going to try to shift over here. See if we can't press this a little bit. Problem is, we're just not able to move fast enough. He's getting everybody shifted around and dealing with my flanking attack. Alright, we might actually catch these guys here. Alright, Gordon, call your skirmishers back in. Let's hit him with our main line. Walker County Rangers are getting hammered right now because they're all by themselves facing off against a whole division. DeRosie just broke. I'm trying to get Van Dorn over here, but I think it's going to be too late. Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't want to move that whole... Oh, I did it again. Darn it. Somehow Johnson keeps getting selected. And it might have just been Greg that time. It was. There goes Scurry. Who was wounded? DeRosie, commander of the cavalry over there. Alright, Greg, call your skirmishers in. We're going to try to destroy this division here if I can. Blanchard's going to have a rough time with the Ruhr Valley Brigade, but at least he's a bigger brigade there. I got a couple of big brigades here. This is going to be some intense fighting right here. We do have at least a little bit of cover in the woods. Although it doesn't seem to be helping me. Come on, Lane, I need you up there now. Yeah, they're... See how slowly we're moving through the swamp? I want to try and hit that battery as quickly as I can. Fighting in the woods over here. Intense fire, big time. See the rain falling. This is an ugly battle. Ugly battle. River Valley Brigade's got an upgrade. We're going to give them Iron Discipline because they're going to need it right now. Oh, we're getting a little bit of hang-ups here. I haven't seen much of that lately. Well, unfortunately, I had to withdraw from that battle. I had just captured one of his brigades, and it was glitching really bad, so I had to hit retreat. I tried saving the game first and then reloading, and the enemy army had completely redeployed after I reloaded, so we had to withdraw from that one. We're going to pull back. It looks like, dang, they're going to... I guess that's their supply line, so hopefully they don't drop back too much further than right here. But we'll see where they end up dropping back. What is this storage target? Supplies are continually accumulated or disposed until the set level is reached. Interesting. Well, we kind of expected this was going to happen. Just happened a lot sooner than I expected. March 1862, Lincoln has issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and with that, our British intervention is going to take a big hit, although it hasn't done so. Oh, there it is. It dropped to 15%. Emancipation Proclamation gives me a 20% hit to that. So you can see right now I'm just taking a big hit from a couple of things. Looks like the Army of Northern Virginia failed in its assault on Washington. That's okay, though. We are keeping him occupied over there. In the meantime, Army of the Northwest can finally begin construction on a supply depot over here in Knoxville, as well as a fort. I'm going to try to fortify Tennessee as best we can here. If I can find a spot where I can make this happen. There we go. He's pressing hard against my Army of Tennessee. We're going to try to fight this again. There's 3 Union armies there, but none of them are pretty substantial on their own, but all told, they've got me in numbers. So let's see if we can't turn this thing around there. All right, this time we're defending. So we've got this bay right here, and then the river's coming through. He is going to be attacking from right here, most likely, to the east or the northeast. He's got 3 separate armies. So the good news is we can dig in behind this river, and then we can fortify in the north. I think regardless of how he comes at me, we are in a very strong position. Okay, they're coming at me right in the center here. They're already loading up, trying to cross the bridge. So we've got the Hungarian Impalers right there. We've got the Gulf Shore Gators. These are both units that have already received battle honors, and they may be well on their way to receiving more if they can hold this bridge. He outnumbers us, and he's got 3 armies, so I can't get drawn into trying to support these units by crossing at other spots to try and hit them, because this is just one division here. There's going to be more divisions coming. So we need to keep every crossing watched. We've already driven 1 unit back, so that's a good start. He's going to get into all kinds of a mess trying to cross this bridge. I've got it covered with not only small arms, but also artillery. You can see here we've got the first elite unit in our armed forces. The 1st Tennessee Heavy Artillery, we gave them that close support perk, and as a 24-pounder howitzer unit, that's devastating. Melee strength 50%, canister reloading speed 20%. It's an elite close support unit. And here comes another division coming down that same road toward that same bridge. We've actually got another unit of 24-pounder howitzers over here helping cover that bridge. Right now, that's the only place he's hitting me. Gulf Shore Gators, just 54 casualties so far. Hungarian Impalers haven't lost a man. This is going to be a Burnside Bridge type situation the way this is shaping up right now. Just let him hurl his divisions at that bridge. 850 casualties to 120 for me, which I need because he outnumbers me better than 2 to 1, or about 2 to 1. Keep doing it. Just keep hurling your divisions at me. 100 casualties for Gulf Shore Gators. We'll just keep an eye on that. 2 more brigades coming. He may try to get into melee combat if he can get across the bridge intact, but he hasn't been able to do that yet. Oh, this is glorious. Alright, let's pause for a second because Gulf Shore Gators have their perk. I think maybe Deadly Volley. Yeah, let's do Deadly Volley for them. Right now that'll come in really handy. They are taking some casualties. The Hungarian Impalers are about to get their perk as well. You can see because they're in short range combat, they're quickly leveling up toward level 2 on this. So he's moving over here now to try and engage the Hungarian Impalers. So they're about to get their perk. And there it is. I think I'm going to give them their Springfields. So I don't think sharpshooters is what we want here. I'm going to go expert skirmishers. Gives them some concealment bonus. Alright, we are just shattering his army as they try to cross this bridge. 20. Oh, yeah, here he comes. Okay, I had a feeling he might try to do that. That's smart on the AI's part. So he can't keep attacking this bridge. So he had to do something different at some point. And so he's actually going around the river. I probably should have dug in a little tighter here. I just was expecting him to come down the road rather than where he's at. So we'll start maneuvering to deal with that, but he is going to keep trying to come at me down this road. I'm going to go ahead and send Van Dorn up into this fence right here. Let's bring the cav over. He's just in range for our 24 pounders, but I want to move them up a little bit. Good news is if we can shatter enough of these brigades coming at the bridge and shatter a brigade or 2 up here, it won't matter where the rest of his army is. We are taking some losses among our heavy artillery, that elite unit there. These guys have Mississippi rifles. I should have held them back a little further. Who was killed? Commander of the Tennessee Heavy Artillery was killed. They're taking some big-time losses right now. I'm going to pull them back. I'm going to bring Pemberton over. He's getting his whole division into line against Donaldson here. That's not ideal. Oh, look at him. He's just coming straight at me. That's a smart move, though. I mean, he's got a whole division against 1 brigade. It's exactly what he should do in that situation. Donaldson's just in a mess right now. A melee mess. Did he just get captured? He did. Ah! The Bourbon Rebels disintegrated with so many men surrendering to the enemy. Donaldson was killed. Wow. I think they will reform after the battle, but they're going to be out of commission for a while. Oh, my apologies to the patron who has the Bourbon Rebels. All right, he actually got a unit across the bridge. He's loading up on us now. But I think we're going to be able to drive them back with little trouble. This is a bigger problem, though, over here. Come on, boys, get over there. All right, Gulf Shore Gators have lost 500 men now. We need to keep an eye on that. We do have plenty of reserve over here if we need. I'm going to go ahead and start pushing units across the bridge now. He clearly is not coming after the bridge down here. We've got a better situation now here. Whiting's in bad shape, and Winder's going to be a problem here because he's got that brigade coming right at him. But if we can get these guys down here, and I don't know why I can't seem to get these guys down here. But once we do, I think we can drive off this division. We'll be okay. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, Whiting. Let's go after Reynolds over here. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't you break. Oh, there goes Whiting. He just broke. Let's take a look at the numbers, though. Things are looking really good. 2-to-1 casualties. Morale's about the same on both sides now. We're stacking him up down here on his southern approach. Gulf Shore Gators, though, are about to hit that 50% casualty mark, and they're going to break. They finally just took too many casualties. But I'm curious to know how many they've caused. They're down to 18 rounds of ammunition. They've lost 1,200 men. But let's take a look and see what their combat report looks like. Because I feel like they've caused a ton of casualties. They have. They've caused 3,400 casualties. And the Hungarian Impaler's 1,800. So between the two, they've stacked up 5,000 casualties at this bridge. I think it's pretty obvious Gulf Shore Gators are going to be getting their second battle star today. After this. In the meantime, several units have broken over here, so we're going to send Ransom over here to try and hit this last brigade. Alright, Gulf Shore Gators are broken, but that's okay. Almost out of daylight, though. That's a problem. You got a brigade across. End of day. That's not ideal because you see you see how everything shifted back in his direction because a bunch of his units that I had previously driven off have been reconstituted. Okay, so you can see the situation now, how many units he's got coming down over in this area. They've just got basically a core level strength coming at this bridge. And so now we've got to go back and start driving them off again. I'm going to pull this division back to over here. Kind of tighten up our defense a little bit. We got to start driving off all these brigades again. Tennessee Tuxedos are now on the line over here. So the areas that we're fighting are greatly increased now. He's got a bunch of people up on the riverbank, which means they're all going to be able to fire into the Tennessee Tuxedos, who have lost their brigade commander killed in action, and their casualty numbers are just going to skyrocket now since he's able to get more men on the line to fire at me. This is not looking pretty at the moment. I've inflicted 10,000 casualties, but it's just not enough. If we'd had a few more hours of daylight the previous day, I think we probably would have won the battle. So I'm going to try to push up over here. I want to send out some skirmishers from Van Dorn to get at this battery. There, we drove back Corcoran. That helps a lot. Alright, he just drove off the Tennessee Tuxedos. Hungarian Impalers are still sitting tight. We're covering another bridge crossing now. Let's pull Withers down over here. Jones should be moving up, but he hasn't yet. Trying to cause some confusion at him over here. Ruhr Valley Brigade, let's move them up to cover the bridge now. General Johnson, I'd rather you pull back a little bit. Alright, I think we've got it. We've caused enough disarray here. We're moving toward a major victory. Desperately needed one too. Awesome. Excellent. Major victory. We're going to do at least 2 battle stars from this one. And I have... Definitely Gulf Shore Gators and Hungarian Impalers for their work at the bridge. Both of them inflicting massive casualties on the enemy. But I'm looking elsewhere too. Whiting's Brigade maybe. I'm thinking though that battery probably deserves some. We'll have to take a look at him afterwards. Okay, 13,000 casualties inflicted on the combined armies that attacked me. Suffered 5,500 of our own. You can see we were pretty heavily outnumbered, but in a perfect defensive position in this case. So let's go ahead and get back to the main screen. We'll wrap this episode up. I will be posting today the order of battle as it now stands for our patrons, now that every patron unit is recruited and either already in the field or on its way. You can see as well that the performance of units like the Gulf Shore Gators has had a real effect on the commander, Jones Withers. We're going to promote him to Brigadier General. That, of course, dropped some of those stats, but they're still pretty substantial. Edward Johnson as well. Really good stats. I mean, we've got some really nice things happening in this army right now. I don't know why we got a colonel in command of a division, but that's because promoting him, you can see what happens when you promote them. Their stats do go back down some. I think that's about all. We do need to find, I got to remember what the unit was that we lost there so we can rebuild them. We lost that unit, but I want to get them back in there once again. But we're going to wrap it up right there. Projects assignable, not much at the moment, so we're waiting on some of those things. It's March of 1862. We've got a long way to go. His national morale is still at 76. You can see the number of men fielded. We've got to kind of reconstitute a lot of these units, and we've got a bunch that are on their way back in or being recruited for the first time, like the 51st Highland Division and the Army of Northern Virginia. And of course, that unit out west, the Trans-Mississippi Theater, I basically had to send all of those brigades home to reform because they were so low on numbers. And these new units that are coming in, we got to get them better weapons. There we go. Oh, we're down to Springfield muskets, so we have a unit coming in that won't have rifles. All right, let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below, and we will see you again soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.